the print for a very old-fashioned type of applique called Rosary purse, and I just did a hint of it on this pillow here, but I've taken the rose from the print because I thought it would be so fun to pull it out and play with it. And my intention on the quilt that's on the table was to really do a bit more of that within the quilt. But as we all know, those market deadlines creep up very, very quickly, and sometimes what you start with, you don't always end with. And I wanted y'all to see a fun patchwork quilt. So eventually I will do a bit more embroidery purse with this collection. It lends itself really, really nicely to feature that great rose print. It also comes in this beautiful soft shade of pink, and it doesn't get any more girly than that. Super, super sweet and pretty, very delicate. Love that. And also on the white. So very fun. Really, really pretty, soft, very feminine. Then we've got the small summer plaid, which has really been great. I've used it a lot. I envision using it as an applique background. It's probably going to be part of whatever piece I do. I've also used it a ton as little accents. Great on the bias in the pillow. Used it both in the stripes and in the ruffle. And then I've got this fun little apron here. And again, this is just a variation of the apron in my book. And so again, I've put it on the bias up at the top. It comes in the pink, the green, and also the blue bias there. So very, very fun way to use that. Oh, and on the purse as well. So here, you see the summer plaid and the garden romance together. So both prints together in a bag. So lots of fun ways to use that particular print. Also terrific as a binding. Anytime you can put a plaid on a binding, that looks terrific. The Ditzy print is just a really great little accent piece. Would be great for collars, cuffs, alternate blocks in patchwork. Just a fun little print. This is probably the most unique print in the collection. I love the rose wreath. Very, very old-fashioned. I used it quite a bit in the patchwork quilt, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But I also used it in the apron, and I just love the way it turned out in that piece because it does look very retro in there and really fun. So the rose wreath comes in the aqua, and it comes in the yellow, and I think that's it. Just those two on the rose wreath. Then we have the stripe, which is really great. It's kind of a light, thinner cabana stripe. I've used that a ton. Straps on the apron, great as a binding, and obviously in the pillow, using it horizontally, so a great way to feature it that way as well. Also works beautifully as an applique background, so love it for that. Really, really fun. One of the things I love about this collection is it feels like no matter which pieces I pull, they all go really well together, where in some collections you really can only use 3 SKUs or maybe 4 SKUs together. This one, no matter what I reached for, it just sort of seemed like everything went together. I'm going to share this little purse because I thought that was a really fun, just a simple, sweet patchwork. And that shows you it's got 8, 9 different SKUs in the one bag, all working together. Just super fun, very dainty. Very playful. Let's see what else I haven't shown you. Oh, this is a great print, and I've used it a lot in the quilt, and I had hoped to use it. I wanted to make a tuft before coming, but I didn't quite get to that, but I envisioned doing something like that. Just getting it around something, or a great border would be terrific as a border piece. It comes in this really kind of high pumped up green. That's going to be your brightest shade in the collection, and then it comes in the yellow, which is lovely. That turned out very, very pretty with a little bit more red in there, very girly. And then it comes in the blue, which is really lovely in the blue. It's very, very pretty in the blue. Super for a border on a quilt. Again, great as, and I also use the smaller border print as well in the quilt, and I'll show you in just a sec. We'll take that kind of up off the table. The last small project that I did, I just recently attended the Pacific International Quilt Festival in Northern California. It's our biggest show in California. I was there for 4 days, and when you do a show a week before market, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to get anything done. And so I was stitching. I always stitch in my booth, and so I made some fun strawberry pink cushions out of the pinks in the collection. So you feel free to come up and take a look. This is a vintage spool pattern that I have that has both the strawberries and the cupcake. There's a cupcake pattern in it as well. So fun way to use all of the pinks in the collection. Very exciting. Free Spirit is doing with my collections now the Fat Quarter Towers, which come the full collection in the Fat Quarter Tower, the designer rolls, and the charm packs. Important to order those early. They do sell out. I know this because I tried to order them for my own purposes, and I bought the last ones at the last minute, so they're selling really, really well. I will tell you that the show that I just did was heavily attended, and they were just snatching these out of the booth. I wish I had 3 times as many as I had. They were very, very excited to see the prints in this way. They're loving to be able to get those pre-cuts and get a hold of them and do some fun projects with them. So something to think about. Also, one of the things that I did, and this is a nice suggestion, the tower of Fat Quarters can be a substantial investment for your customer. So what I do when I get them is I split them in half, and I fold them up, or just retie them, and I say, this is half the collection here, this is the other half of the collection. If you love the collection, get them both. But it's a nice way to offer it to your customers so that they, if they want a sampling of the collection, if they want Fat Quarters, it's a great way to do it. And it's very easy to do. It takes a couple minutes just to take the collection apart and retie it. But just a suggestion, because they really move very, very well that way for your customers. I'm going to pull the quilt up off the table if I can, and maybe I'll have one of the ladies just come up and help me hold it up. As many of you know, it's not often that I do patchwork. It's generally I go the other way and I do applique. But I was just having so much fun with this particular quilt. It, believe it or not, it actually has 8 different blocks in it. You can't really tell because my intention was to blend them all together and never have any of the SKUs touch each other that were the same, but yet use the entire collection in a piece that I felt could be interesting to both a beginner and somebody who's more advanced. So a very, very fun way to use it. I've got very simple blocks in there, and they're just turned specific ways, but there are 8 different ones, and then I've also included some of the smaller, and I paper piece them, or you could foundation piece them or paper piece them, but there are some kind of crazy blocks randomly placed in there to get smaller bits of the collection. But every single SKU's been used in here, and it's just a really fun, very cottagey way to present the collection. Does anybody have any questions, comments? You love it? Good. Because I was so excited, and I thought, I really like this. Is it just me? Sometimes I had an art professor years ago who said if you've done something creative, hang it on your wall, and if you're still patting yourself on the back a year from now, it means it actually was good, but if not, it was just your ego that was sort of in the way. So I just thought it was funny. But anyway, so this is Rosewater. Super excited about it. It will hit stores in March. You can obviously come down to the vignette in the booth, check out all the projects, take pictures, come and look at the fabrics a little closer, look at the projects closer. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Yes?
I wanted to know, is your new book going to be available? Do you have it in your book?
I did not bring it, but I'm pretty sure I will look down there. I'm guessing that they have copies of it. Westminster does carry it. And I will tell you, at this last show, it was selling beautifully. Having folks be able to see the projects with the book was wonderful. So if anybody's ever interested in borrowing a trunk show from the book, I'm happy to loan it out. It's a really, honestly, a well put together book. 20 different really fun projects, pretty much something for everyone. Patchwork, applique, embroidery, sewing projects. There's a little of everything in there. Great photos, great instruction. Getting a lot of positive feedback on the book now that it's been out for a little while. And as I say, happy to loan you a trunk show because it really is a great way for them to see it. Even though the photography is beautiful, when folks were coming up and seeing and touching everything, they were just so drawn in to the projects. And I would suggest the cover quilt on the book. It's a nice, simple patchwork. It has a 9-patch rail fence and 4-patch on a diagonal setting. It got so much attention at the show. It can be done in any of my collections. Great kit, wonderful size and price point and everything. So I highly, highly recommend, pairing the book with the collection and doing some of the projects. Again, the apron that you saw, and there's also other fun projects that can be done from the book out of this collection. So pairing a collection with the book, I think, is a great, great idea. Any other questions, ladies? Thank you so much for coming. I know it's the end of your day. I know you've probably heard and seen lots of wonderful things, so I do appreciate you coming.